The movie opens as we are introduced to Cecilia, a scientist who specializes in optics, is trapped in an abusive marriage to Adrian. With the aid of her sister Emily, Cecilia gets away from Adrian in the middle of the night. Adrian has been given diazepam by Cecilia to make him sleepy, but as she leaves, Cecilia releases their dog, setting off the car alarm and rousing the angry Adrian, who chases after her. Adrian discovers the narcotic bottle Cecilia left behind as Cecilia and Emily make their getaway. After 2 weeks, Cecilia has moved into the home of James Lanier and Sydney, his teenage daughter, where she lives in concealment. Cecilia, who is still a recluse and is terrified to leave the house, panics when Emily comes to visit because she thinks Adrian will try to hurt her. Emily does, however, break the news that Adrian committed suicide. Tom, his brother, leaves his estate and riches to Cecilia, whom she only accepts in order to pay for Sydney's education expenses and James' living expenses. Cecilia, on the other hand, has a creepy feeling that she is being watched and is being stalked by an unknown entity during the night that only she can see. The covering is gradually removed while Sydney is fast asleep next to her, and multiple flashes of light are visible. Cecilia notices the blankets at the foot of the bed as she awakens and becomes suspicious. They refuse to move when she tries to take them back. James and Sydney are both awakened by her reaction, but she is unable to describe what she believes she saw. Cecilia attends an interview for a job as an architect. Cecilia collapses after discovering her portfolio is missing when she opens it to display her work. Cecilia learns that she was drugged after going to the hospital. When she gets home, she gets a call from the doctor informing her that the fainting spell she experienced was due to a small overdose of diazepam in her system. Suddenly, she locates the diazepam bottle Adrian had discovered. Cecilia visits Emily, who is upset after receiving a terrible email from Cecilia's account since she feels insecure. Cecilia checks her email, sees the sent message, and breaks down in tears. Sydney tries to cheer her up, but is attacked by an ominous force, which makes Sydney panic and thinks Cecilia did it. James makes the choice to leave the house and take Sydney to a more secure location. In the meantime, Cecilia explores the home and discovers her work in the attic crawl area, along with a sizable kitchen knife belonging to James and several photographs of her sleeping that had been taken by an unidentified stalker. When Cecilia feels movement and notices a man's silhouette wearing some sort of outfit, she dumps a pail of paint on the ladder in realization that she is not alone. Before Cecilia leaves the attic, the man departs and wipes the paint off. The two struggle until Cecilia manages to escape his hands and leave the house by calling an Uber driver. The driver is directed to take Cecilia to Adrian's. Cecilia sneaks into her husband's home and finds him working on a high-tech outfit that could turn him invisible. The invisible man attacks Cecilia after she takes the suit and hides it, but her dog intervenes and buys her time to escape. Cecilia schedules a meeting with Emily at a restaurant and expresses her regrets while also letting her know that she adores her. As they become closer, and Cecilia says that she discovered an invisibility suit at Adrian's lab, Emily's doubt starts to fade. Suddenly, Emily is fatally sliced across the throat with a big knife. Cecilia is given the knife, taken into custody, and taken to a sanitarium. Having begun to question her own sanity and learning that she is expecting Adrian's child, Cecilia finally caves. However, Tom confronts her and reveals that he was actually working with his brother the entire time. If she doesn't come back to Adrian with his child, Tom warns she will forfeit the inheritance and be incarcerated here permanently. Still furious about her sister's death, Cecilia declines. Tom departs, but not before Cecilia takes one of his pencils. Cecilia is about to delete herself in her room by slicing her wrist with a pen when the invisible man intervenes. After using herself as bait to lure him out of hiding, Cecilia stabs him twice with the pen, causing his suit to malfunction and making him appear and vanish at random. A security guard approaches to stop her, but is startled by the glitching figure that beats him down. Several security officers who also notice the stumbling figure stop Cecilia as she rushes out into the hallway. The invisible man effortlessly defeats them and flees into the raging darkness. He escapes Cecilia's grasp after she hunts him down, but he then confronts her and declares that Sydney is his next target. James goes home after receiving a warning from Cecilia about the danger to discover his daughter being attacked by an apparition. In front of a scared Sydney, James tries to intervene but is brutally assaulted. Upon entering, Cecilia uses a fire extinguisher to spray the figure, revealing his shape, before opening fire with an officer's weapon. The invisible man collapses to the ground and passes away from his injuries. Tom is revealed to be the invisible man by Cecilia. When a SWAT team arrives, Adrian is discovered inside his home chained up. James reveals that While the evidence points towards Tom using his brother to attack Cecilia, she is still sure that Adrian and Tom were conspiring, and in a worst-case scenario, Adrian had Tom set up to take the fall. Cecilia contacts Adrian and agrees to see him for dinner, even though she is still anxious about the events that have occurred. With James' assistant, who is standing outside the home, Cecilia is wearing a listening device in an attempt to coax a confession from him. When Cecilia asks if he was stalking her, Adrian initially denies it, but then seems to imply that he was. Adrian starts to suspect something else is going on as Cecilia excuses herself to visit the restroom, when suddenly his head is wrenched back and his throat is sliced. Adrian bleeds to death as he falls to the ground. After entering the room and acting surprised, Cecilia calls the police and reports what she perceives to be a suicide. Then Cecilia gloats over Adrian's lifeless body and suggests that she use his invisible suit to do this. James runs inside and discovers Cecilia running away with Adrian's suit and dog. James lets her go, even though he realizes she set this up with the intent to kill him, possibly intending to take her husband's work for her own future gain. Cecilia vanishes into the night. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button on your way out. Thanks for watching my video.